When we talk of the lift on or rather GM products as a farmer, do you think this will have an impact on the traditional, ways of farming, talk of seed retention and such concerns?
As much as we are talking about that the MON 810, for example, variety is royalty free, but still, who is selling that seed? Who's benefiting from that seed? And you're getting a situation of corporate capture. And that's one issue that we have raised severally because of the livelihoods of our farmers.
Not just the GM maize or cotton that belongs to a company. The other varieties and hybrids, either they belong to Calro or Kenya Seed or ADC or whoever is doing Simlo seeds. There are many companies that have come up with different technologies. And I think Kenya is well placed to be competitive in this space in the African region because most of the other African countries do not have well-established seed systems. And you find Kenya Seed is in Tanzania, and nobody is accusing them of corporate capture.
We have to call GMOs for what they are. They are not natural. I appreciate that scientists have come from the laboratories. They are trying to lower their English to speak to Kenya so that Kenyans understand. I appreciate that. And I know we have discussed a lot with Dr. Anami. It's now time to reduce the jargon.
In the spirit of reducing the jargon,
yes.
So when we say natural and unnatural, the Kenyan would want, ordinary Kenyan would want to know whether it's safe or not safe.
There's a lot of toxicological data available in this country to demonstrate that the GMO maize, which is actually the PT maize, is safe for human consumption. And as a scientific community, we have reached a consensus that GMO foods are safe for human consumption and also for feed.
Attributes which we normally try to solve are very specific. We are not changing the maize so that we say it is unnatural. We don't use something from outside what is already existing. We just add an attribute to the already existing plants and animals in that case. And
pushing the question to you, you've heard Dr. mentioned of the adjustment to the original seed that we had to make it better adapted to the environment. As one who's been in the biodiversity and biosafety association, what would be your take on it?
Consumers should be given an opportunity to make a choice. And the NBA will argue and say we have the labeling regulation. But the NBA is also limited in terms of resources, even human capacity. The NBA is a fairly young institution, formed like, is it 10 years ago, 2009? The biosafety law was passed, 2010, I think is when it was formed. In terms of capacity to monitor and check on what is coming in is going to be a major challenge.
You cannot have GMOs in the market without the requisite regulatory framework that are going to ensure that consumers have a choice at the end of the day.
We've had NBA mentioned in terms of capacity, and now that the CEO is not part of the panel and we have him here, probably we'll have the mic get to him. And my question to you would be as simple as has been stated. As NBA, do you have the capacity?
We have a pool of experts. In fact, when we go through an application, we send it to 6 expert reviewers in the area of biotechnology and environment. They give us their feedback. At the same time, we send it to the relevant regulatory agencies. If it is a crop, for example, we'll give it to KEFIS, we'll give it to public health because a crop will eventually be food. And we also give it to Directorate of Veterinary Services, who also give us feedback. Finally, we send it to at least 3 socioeconomists.
You realize that this particular funding by the government, though limited, we appreciate, it's going into a process in which it's strengthening the capacity of Kenyans to be able to produce GMO. And in fact, Kenyans themselves right now, including our Calro, they are currently producing GMO in our laboratory in this country. And when this court case favors GMOs, you will see GMO not from outside, but from Kenyans themselves.
All right, thank you, Dr. Now, pushing it to Dr. Mwirigi, he has mentioned something interesting. Yes, we are locally doing the production of the GM, to fit the market. But question is, in terms of choice, will Kenyans have sufficient room to make choice of what they want to consume?
We have NBA with the regulation for labeling, and also there is a standard developed by Kenya Bureau of Standards for labeling. And the labeling here is not because of safety, it is because of that choice. So in other words, farmers will just grow as usual, but there will be market depending on the farms which are producing and want actually to label. And that is a matter of choice.
Farmers today need information, extension services, and I think all of us here in the panel will agree, those are more urgent needs than even GMOs.
For many years, and so long as there are human beings who are thinking differently, I think we are in a democratic country where debate should be allowed to continue, but technology should not be stopped so long as we have put in place the right mechanisms to regulate things.